sure you don't forget to use push to shout. I mean, push to talk.
Hello! And welcome to the Push to Shout podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm Skippy.
And this is episode 52, episode 2 of the riveting second season of the show. You see, the text has been made bolder than ever.
Oh boy.
It'll be even easier to read if the window's small or in the thumbnail or whatever. Yeah, we have some video games to talk about, I believe. What are some of them, Skippy?
Well, mostly I've got news because I haven't been doing a whole lot of video gaming. The only real significant video game that I've played is I mentioned last week that I was going to try out Rebel Galaxy. I guess it was 2 weeks ago now. And
I saw your tweets about it. They didn't seem to.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot to say about Rebel Galaxy because it literally did nothing for me. Like nothing. Absolutely nothing. The concept is sound. It seemed like it was going to be the kind of game that I could like because it takes. Did you ever play Assassin's Creed 4?
Yeah. Well, no.
No.
I've seen enough footage of it to know what it's like.
It took the ship combat from Assassin's Creed 4, which I enjoyed with like the broadsides and stuff like that, and it applied it to a space exploration game. And so, like, space is kind of a 2D plane in the game, and you've got broadsides. And, I mean, it's very, very similar. And I liked that in Assassin's Creed 4, but I didn't like it at all in the space game. To be fair, I didn't give it that much of a shot. Like, I probably played, like, 45 minutes of it before being like, nah, I just don't want any part of this. I might try it again, but I'm thinking my refund timer's about to run out, so I might just get a refund and just never play that game again.
I mean, 45 minutes is usually enough to tell whether you're going to like it.
A lot of people have said good things about the game, and I don't know. It didn't do anything for me, like I said. But, and part of the problem, too, I think might have been that I was streaming it, and if you're not completely feeling a game and you're trying to stream it, then you just feel like you're wasting everyone's time, not only your own.
Yeah,
you know?
I've noticed that. Like, that was exactly what it was like for me with Minecraft Story Mode. It wasn't as funny as Life is Strange to play or watch. So I just felt bad.
Yeah, maybe I would have played 2 hours of Rebel Galaxy if I was on my own, but I felt like I was wasting everyone else's time too, and that was bad. So
right.
I don't know. I don't think it's a game for me. I don't like the fact that it's in a 2D plane. I didn't think that I would like that, but I felt that I could get past it. But just like putting space in a 2D plane, it's always stupid to me. It just doesn't work because the whole idea of space is that it's in 3 dimensions. But I don't know. Whatever. So that didn't do anything for me. And other than that, I mean, like I played like 1 or 2 more levels of Human Resource Machine, which has gotten insanely hard to the point of I don't know if I'm going to be able to complete that game without looking up hints or at least just cheesing it. Because like the idea is that you're supposed to do as few commands as possible and try to make it as efficient as possible. And it gets really, really complicated. And it is starting to go way over my head, which is I'm still enjoying it, but it's tough. And I don't know. I might have to either cheat or just create really inefficient programs to get through the levels, but not get any of the bonus points that you get for I like the whole fun of it is trying to get it to be efficient, though. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's still an awesome game. I recommend it to pretty much anyone who sounds like they might be interested in that. And I don't know, Rocket League, which is going to get some updates pretty soon that'll add like modifiers where I think there's going to be like a low gravity and you can change like how the ball bounces and all sorts of various stuff. And then they also added like a hockey mode where the ball turns into a hockey puck and you're on ice, and I don't know, it changes the game in surprisingly significant ways. Like instead of bouncing off the wall, the puck will like kind of stick to it and slide along it, which is significant if you played Rocket League. But yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I've basically just been doing nothing, watching stuff like on TV and stuff like that, like a boring person. What about you?
I mean, that's basically been me, except add in a whole bunch of shit to do. I played no video games besides Smash, like in a couple fleeting moments. But it's just, I thought the worst was over last week, but there was just so much to do. One of the things I did I did something called the Fed Challenge, which is where you dress up in a suit and you present to economists from the Federal Reserve, and you compete to see who can give the best analysis of the state of the economy.
Nice.
And then they grill you, and so
They make fun of you. They make fun of your suit and stuff.
Yeah, that's they really roast you. But one of the judges there was the vice president of monetary policy at the Cato Institute, and if you're not familiar with the Cato Institute, it's
think tank.
It's a conservative, basically libertarian think tank, and they very biased. That's all.
My dad loves it.
Go into it. The bias. I mean, somebody has to do it, but anyway, he went on us hard. Like, he was. Yeah. One guy was just asking, "Do you know your shit?" kind of questions. The Cato Institute guy, he was going down these like 5-minute question roads where he was questioning the basic existence of the Federal Reserve, and like it felt like at any moment he was going to say, "And what do you think of the gold standard? And should we end the Fed?" But he seemed to be like self-aware enough to know what he was doing, and I think he just kind of wanted to see how he would deal with that. But anyway, we did very well. We haven't gotten the results back, but I looked over to one of the guy's grading sheets. I shouldn't have done that, but I saw that he gave us all perfects down the line.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we did really well. I'm proud of that.
You're a comedian, an economist. You're all sorts of things now. Podcaster.
Somebody asked how that went on the comments.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was just checking the website, which we do actually. And
we do read the comments, yeah. Sometimes we forget to reply on them.
We absolutely killed opening for BJ Novak. We did phenomenal. I think I might have talked about that on a podcast, but yeah, we did incredibly. And did I tell my dick move to BJ Novak?
No.
I was an asshole to him, and it was fun. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so here's the story. We finish our opening act. We did incredible. Like, it's me, and not to toot my own horn, but me specifically.
You've just been tooting your own horn for like the last 5 minutes. That's all.
So may as well. I killed. Huge laughs. Density of laughs was high. It was great, and I saw him pacing back and forth. I think that's how he like hypes himself up to go on stage or something. And the idea was that we would clear out backstage and then go sit in the audience so that we could watch the show. And so I was the last one from our sketch comedy group to leave backstage, and he's pacing, and I stop with a fish in my hand, a real fish that was used as a prop.
Okay.
And I just put on this real serious face, and I give him like a quick nod, and I say, "Good luck, dude." He's like, "Oh, thanks." That killed me. Like, I got to be a dick to BJ Novak. That was so fun.
That was the highlight. Sounds like a nice experience. Sounds like,
it wasn't, it's not actually being a dick, but it's like, someone like me calming him down before he goes on stage. It's funny. So that was fun.
With a fish.
Yeah, it was smelly. God, it was so smelly.
You probably should use a fake fish.
No, why? No, you got to do it for the craft.
I see.
It has this look. It flops a certain way.
Was it Steve Jobs that said you need to? What was it about building a cabinet where the back of the cabinet doesn't necessarily need to be polished and all that, but it's there, and so it has to be perfect because you're a true craftsman.
Yeah, I
Sounds
am
like
Steve
Jobs would say.
Or Jesus, one or the other.
What's the difference?
He was a craftsman. But yeah, that's last week or 2 weeks ago or 3, whatever it was. Other thing this week, I finally got to play my drums again. So, in a couple of moves that my family has had, there's been no place to set up the drums, which is a shame because I really like to play them. And I was able to play with some friends here because they had a drum set, and I fell in love with them again.
You got the itch?
Yeah, and now I was finally able to set everything up, and I just practiced for hours and hours and hours, and it is like riding a bike. Like it's been like 4 years since I really got to sit down and play them, and it was the same. It was so fun. I'm learning so much, and it's great to get back into that.
Yeah,
So,
I grabbed my old. This week I grabbed my old guitar from my parents' house, and tuned it. And I haven't really had time to play around with it, but I used to teach myself a little bit of guitar, so I might get back into that. I don't know. Music's hard. It's really tough.
Drums are probably the easiest.
Yeah, I actually spent like almost all day. I think like Friday. I think I sat down and I just started watching YouTube videos by musicians explaining like music theory and stuff, like the Circle of Fifths and stuff like that. Just absorbing information because I was in one of those moods where it was like I want to learn about music, and that's what got me to do the guitar. Is like, all right, I feel like I can understand why the strings are tuned to which notes a little better than I did before. The problem is like that the way they teach you, like when you're a kid and you're taking like guitar lessons or piano lessons for that matter. I mean, I'm probably in the minority of kids who would want to learn this way, but I want to learn the concepts and then apply the concepts. I don't want to learn how to do it and then learn the concepts. That's why like physics was one of the only things that really connected with me as a student, because like that's just learning the basic concepts, and then once you learn the math on top of that, it's easier for me to like say, oh, I get it. Now you're doing this with this. And that's what I felt like with music, was like, I want to know why that chord makes that sound and why it's pleasing and all that stuff. So yeah,
that's basically how I went about trying to relearn everything and get back into practicing. I'm trying to do it the right way.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to learn songs or play along to stuff I remember. These are the fundamentals. These are the rudiments. These are the basic skills that you need to know, because then you can just use them as needed, instead of, you could just practice a very specific thing from a specific song, but then, okay, you can only do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the drums. I'm really excited about them. I have another show this week. This one's not opening for somebody. It's a full 10 sketch show, and I brought with me my snare drum and a little cute cymbal, because the sketch is I play a guy who follows people around and plays a rim shot whenever they make a joke, and then they try to kill him by saying too many puns too quickly, and then I have to like freak out on the drums and die of exhaustion. So that's the sketch. So I've got him with me.
Well,
I was planning on doing. Well, nobody who watches anyway.
Bit's gone.
I was
now.
planning on just having it in my lap and off to the side here, so that if you said something funny, it would just happen.
Yeah, you should have said that. You should have waited till next week and actually done that.
Yeah. I wouldn't have it next week, though.
I don't crack a whole lot of jokes.
You're not a jokester.
Yeah, and when I do, well, I guess that would make the rim shot a lot better, is if the joke fell flat.
Okay, so that's the drums. I watched The Ring for the first time on Halloween.
Okay, yeah.
I thought it was really cool. I thought the ending kind of sucked. It was probably cool at the time, where it's like, ooh, you were the one who watched the movie. But I felt like it was really good when she died in the well. And I think it could have just ended there. Well, you don't... Who's she? What? And it's from a million years ago. But yeah, it had a shitty ending. But it was really atmospheric. It was... I had seen bits and pieces of The Ring 2 on TV, which is like the shitty sequel that didn't need to be made. And I just remember how dumb that one looked. And going back to the original, the Gore Verbinski one, it's just really creepy, and the way things are shot is really cool, and it was a well-made movie, which is... I didn't expect that. I expected it to be creepy, but I didn't expect it to be made so well. That's uncommon in horror movies.
That was one of the first horror movies that I saw. Do you know when it came out?
Probably like 2000 something.
Yeah, I probably saw it pretty soon after it came out, and I was really young.
2002.
And I remember it being pretty... Yeah, I would have been around 11 at that time, so maybe old enough to, like, you know, the parents don't know and the kids are getting rent the movie or whatever, but I I remember seeing that movie at a very young age. I don't remember a whole lot about the movie, but there's some images from that are like burnt into my brain because they really like they were done really well and
Hmm.
just are creepy. Like it's not the kind of scary that you get from a lot of modern horrors where like I don't want to completely dismiss just jump scares as a concept, but like that's what the most like a few years later I would have seen 28 Days Later, which
Hmm.
is another one of the first horror movies that I really remember really scaring me. But the things that I remember from 28 Days Later that scared me were the jump scares. The zombie appears in the
Yeah.
window when the lightning strikes, or they look up from the pews in the church, and they're really well done jump scares. But the things I remember from The Ring are the woman brushing her hair and slowly turning towards the camera or something like that, or looking in the mirror or something. And just like those images are so creepy
Hmm.
by themselves that I still remember them to this day. I think it'd be fun to kind of go back and rewatch that. I'm not a huge horror movie fan, but I
Neither
appreciate
am
it
I.
a
I
lot.
could count all the horror movies I've ever seen on one hand,
Yeah.
probably. Not that they're all that scary, really. It's I just don't feel the itch. A lot
I
of people
love
have that itch where they just will
Yeah.
love to just devour a horror movie, but they don't really entertain me all that much.
I get that way sometimes. I mean, just like last night, actually, I was watching. I used to love these shows, and I still kind of do, for a lot of the same reasons. The Ghost Hunters shows, like Taps, Ghost Hunters, and I don't know. There's the Ghost Adventures one where he's like this dude bro, and he's yelling at the ghosts. I don't. I've never believed in ghosts, and but the shows are still incredibly entertaining to me because the places they go are legitimately creepy, and it's fun to watch the just the creepy stuff unfold. You know, it's no
Yeah,
different
the
from watching like a
creepy
fictional.
stuff.
Yeah,
Like, what was that?
dude, a ghost just touched me, bro. I swear to God, the Ghost Adventures one is more funny than creepy. It's fun to laugh at. The Ghost Hunters one to me actually creeped me out a little bit sometimes because just the locations were like I imagine myself being in this like old boiler room in the dark with like a camera and just like that would be really creepy. It's the locations that I really like.
Yeah,
But anyway,
that stuff is cool.
there's actually one nearby where a lot of those shows have gone to us. It's called Sloss Furnaces. It's in Birmingham, and it is super. It is a really scary location. It's just like really old and industrial, and you've got a lot of like stories of the workers getting killed by the machinery and murders and all sorts of stuff, and a lot of it's true. And so it's pretty creepy. And I've been meaning to do a tour of it, but every Halloween they do like a haunted house thing that's really generic, but it's a cool location to do it because you're like going through the actual like furnaces and along catwalks and stuff. But
I've always
anyway,
wanted to go on one of those.
they're fun. I haven't been on one since I was like a younger teenager, but like I remember it being a ton of fun. And some of it like legitimately pretty scary. Like they know how to like they do like the thing with like the chainsaws where they take the belt off the chainsaw and they're like revving it and like waving it at you and stuff. And like your instinct, you just like fight or flight like takes in. You're freaking out because it even though you know it isn't a real chainsaw, they've got the engine ready
Right.
and everything, and they're like coming at you with it. It's that gets you no matter what. So that's fun. I would like to go to another one, but let me mention a couple of other things that I've seen just to get them out of the way here. I started watching Formula One again, which I kind of fell off of for a little while. They were in the United States and Mexico, so I could watch them live, which is always nice. And the United States race was really exciting. There were like a lot of rain stuff happening, people sliding on the track, safety cars, that kind of stuff. And the Mexico one was not so exciting, but I won't bore anyone with F1 details. Um,
I'm really
I went.
interested in this entry on the dock. Go ahead.
Is it the hipster bar entry?
Yeah.
Last Friday, I went. My friends from New York came down and they texted me. They were like, "All right, we're going to this bar. Do you want to come?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "What bar?" And they said, "It's the Shuffleboard Bar."
What?
And I said, "That sounds what?
What's a
What is that?"
shuffleboard bar?
My first instinct was like, okay, it's a bar with shuffleboard in it, so it's hipster. And because there's a lot of hipster stuff in Birmingham, you've got the gentrification stuff going on, and
The gentrification stuff.
yeah, and sure enough, they text me the address, and I look it up on Google, and it's this place that I've driven by 1,000 times called like, I think it's called like 44th Street Pub and Airplane Company or something like that, and it just looks like the most hipster place ever. And I go there, and it I don't want to use hipster. I don't necessarily. Yeah, it is definitely. I don't want to use hipster as a derogatory term when it comes to this bar though, because it was actually a lot of fun. The shuffleboard is not like the kind that you like slide along the ground like in the Olympics and stuff. It's a table, an elevated table, and you're sliding it. You just stand there with your drink, and that was actually a lot of fun. It's like playing Pong, but more civilized, I guess. Because the concept is the same. You're trying to like get these exact points. It was actually fun. So I don't want to like make fun of the bar too much, but
yeah, I mean, if you're in a place like that, it would actually be more pretentious to act better than it.
Yeah, exactly. It would be like the hipster of hipsters. But I will say that the guy, the bouncer who let us into the bar, my friend noticed he was reading Nietzsche. so
what?
It's like, can you get any more stereotypical? He had a beard
while on the job.
Yes. So, whatever. It was fun. I will say I would go back. It was fun. I don't like loud music bars where you can't talk to people, and so it was right up my alley, I guess. But
cool.
Anyway, last thing I wanted to mention. This is really cool to me and might not be cool to anyone else, but I recommend that people do this because I had a ton of fun last night because it was raining and I didn't really want to do anything anyway. I know it was Halloween night and all that, but it was raining really hard in Birmingham, which was kind of a shame. But I was sitting alone on my computer looking up historical documents and stuff about Birmingham. The thing that got me off on it was that like the street that my apartments are on looks like it's like way too wide for the location it's in the city. Like there's no traffic on it, but it's like 4 lanes wide. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking maybe it was like an old tram line or something. So I started looking up the history of Birmingham, and also like the Sloss Furnace stuff got me into it. And I started like looking at all these maps of like the old streets and everything, and like where the trams went, and I got into it, man. Like for like several hours, I was just sitting there transfixed, just learning all about the history of the city that like I didn't know anything about it, and I've lived here all my life, and it was really neat. It's like, oh, there's the street that I used to go to work, and there's a picture of it like 60 years ago, 70, 80 years ago, and it looks completely different, and it was really neat. That's all I have to say about that. It was just, I'd recommend that you do that, because like, basically what it was maps scanned into like the Birmingham Public Library or whatever, and I was just going on their website and looking at that, and it was surprisingly fun. Fun Halloween night activity there for all you folks.
Well, speaking of ancient history, I went back and rewatched an internet classic, Demented Cartoon Movie. Do you remember that?
Is that the one where no, that's Happy Tree Friends where they murder each other, and that's not that old.
So this came out in 2001, and I remember watching it when I was like how old was I then? I was little. I was a little kid, and I remember thinking it was like the funniest shit ever. It's these people, they die when they say the word blah, and the world explodes a bunch of times. It's like the genesis of lol so random humor.
Mm-hmm. Was it edgy too? Was it like?
No,
I remember
not
watching.
Really.
I remember watching stick figure fighting Flash videos where they're super violent and their stick figures chopping each other's heads off and stuff, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
It wasn't edgy at all. It was just very obnoxious. And I went back and rewatched it. I don't remember how it came to my attention again, but it does not hold up. Like, it is.
What a surprise!
Fucking horrible. It's like 30 minutes long too, and they have these bits that just go on and on, like 2 guys trying to fly to Mars, and their spaceship crashes into a wall immediately, and it's like take 2, and then they go slightly farther and then die again, and it plays that like 17 times or something. It's
early internet humor,
obnoxious, and it just doesn't hold up in any way at all. The only value is nostalgia. But it was weird to go back and see that, because it's the most basic animation that you could ever possibly have. everything could have been drawn in MS Paint. Most of the stuff was not drawn, but made using like the circle tools and the basic lines.
Oh yeah,
And it's
good
just
stuff.
it's funny, not because it's funny, but just to see what animation was like.
Man, every time I'm reminded of like those really early internet things, like I saw a post recently that listed all the different styles of Windows Media Player from like late 90s, early 2000s, and it was just like, oh my god, it was mind blowing because I remembered them a little bit, but like just going through them and just how ugly and horrible and like 90s style they are. Like there's just that style of like really ugly color combinations and big shapes that just don't work together. God, that stuff is it's really weird to go back and see that stuff. Every once in a while I remember like those old like some of those old like internet videos and stuff that people used to quote constantly, drinking out of cups and
Drinking
there
out
was
of
one
cups?
you've never heard of drinking out of cups?
I've never heard of drinking out of cups.
It's a badly animated 3D lizard talking about. It sounds like he's high on something, and he's just rambling, complete nonsense. And I remember it was the shit for a while. People were quoting it like crazy. And then there was one.
That
52.
was the thing when you're younger. You just quote everything you like.
South Park was huge when I was young, and so, God, that was just everyone just spouting South Park quotes, not even in context. Good times. I guess you still get that shit, so nothing's changed.
So, to move on from that bad cartoon,
Yes.
I started watching a good cartoon. It's called BoJack Horseman. And I want to start by saying I overstated how much I liked it on Twitter. It's not actually that as good as Undertale is.
You tend to hyperbolize things.
I know, it's a bad habit. It is great though. So how would I describe it? It's a Netflix exclusive cartoon, kind of in the vein of Archer, like these kind of adult aimed comedies. But it's like Archer. Archer's probably the best comparison because it's not like Family Guy. It's a very smart kind of show.
Sure.
Not like highbrow or anything, but it takes on some genuinely interesting stuff. It's a serialized comedy, which is really rare. You don't see many of those. Arrested Development is really the only one that comes to mind, like where a comedy show, has a continuing story, episode to episode, and not just these self-contained things. I mean, each episode does generally have an arc that gets resolved, but it connects to a broader whole. BoJack Horseman, I guess I'll briefly summarize it, is a washed-up horse actor. He's 50 years old, and he was a star of the hit sitcom from the 90s, Horsing Around. And so now he's just miserable and depressed, and all the kids that were on the show are now like Miley Cyrus types, just destroyed their lives, and he's unable to love, and it gets really dark, and I've heard it gets even darker. And I've heard like season 2, and I'm just talking out of my ass because I haven't seen it, but I heard that it gets really dark in season 2. So I'm looking forward to see where it goes. But it's a cool show. I'd recommend it.
I love my dark comedy. That appeals to me in a deep way.
So, can we get to video games?
Video game news. We can. Yeah.
So what happened at PlayStation Paris? I should have been up on this because I have a PlayStation and I'm looking for something to play on it. But.
So Paris has a game convention called Gaming. I don't remember what it was called, but it's a gaming convention in Paris, and they decided to host. The PlayStation decided to host a big conference there, and I think they tend to do like 4 conferences a year, like every quarter. And it was, I think, like 2 hours long. I watched most of it, or maybe all of it. I've watched the vast majority of it, and I don't know. They actually showed a surprising amount of stuff. It wasn't. I thought it was going to be kind of stale because how much can you show in this weird like time before Christmas where stuff is coming out and you don't necessarily want to distract from that. But anyway, they announced Gran Turismo Sport, which is going to be the next Gran Turismo game, not Gran Turismo 5 or 6 or whatever they're on. Sport. I don't know what that's supposed to imply, but It looks like a Gran Turismo game. There's nothing to say about that at all. I like Gran Turismo though. They announced. Go ahead. What?
Did they show any more of that Media Molecule game? Dreams, the one where you create the stuff?
Yes, I forgot to list that on here. Yes, they showed a lot more of that.
Oh, cool. Okay, I have to watch that.
You have to watch that. That is, I don't know how fun it'll actually be, or like how much people will actually take advantage of it. It looks amazing what they've actually accomplished by trying to. I don't know how good this will come across when you actually play it, but it looks like it's relatively very simple to mold these things, whatever you want to mold, and you can kind of animate them and make them perform functions and stuff that it doesn't look like you could make the most complicated games or anything like that. But they were showing so it was like a 15-minute thing where they showed this kind of like they were navigating this puppet around this dreamlike world where it walks through a forest and they add a bunch of trees in the forest just for fun, and it goes into a house and there's some books in the house and they do things with the books and et cetera, et cetera. And that lasts about 15 minutes, and it's a very specific type of thing where you're like, okay, I can't really tell where they're going with this game. Like, what are they trying to show here? Is this what you do in the game? Just wander around and go on other people's little tiny mini adventures? But then they showed a montage in the last like 20 seconds where they were showing like top-down shooter kind of looking games and like racing games with like jet ski looking things, and like it looks like you can create whatever you want. It really does seem almost like a limitless kind of thing. And, you know, like because like
I'm so
what was the other
excited
one?
for it.
What was the 2D one that they made for the PS?
Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet. It was kind of like you could do anything you want with a side scroller. You know, it could be kind of any genre as long as it's a side scroller. And maybe there's more limitations on that, I think, even in the side scroller genre than there would be in this. But it seems like that level of just crazy customization where it's like whatever you can think of, you can do. It's really exciting. And apparently, you know, if they add it with the PlayStation VR, which I don't remember if that was announced or not, but I imagine they will, it seems like that would be a really cool thing to just show off to people. Like, just like, look at this technology. Look how neat it is. Yeah, you have to watch that. Just, it's fascinating.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited for that.
It's unlike anything I've ever seen. So there's that, and I'll get to the VR stuff later too. No Man's Sky got a release date, June 2016, which is kind of where I would expect. But I was just thinking, like, No Man's Sky, I think it was announced at the Game Awards before the last Game Awards, so almost a full 2 years ago. So it'll be a 2.5 year. It'll come out 2.5 years after it was announced, which is kind of crazy. But anyway, that still looks cool to me. It's just like I don't have that hype that I did the first time I saw it. When it was at those Game Awards, I was freaking out because it was the only good thing that they showed in that entire program.
Yeah, that was the really awkward one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With, what was it? Joel McHale.
Yeah, I thought he was okay. People were pissing on him a lot for making fun of gamers and stuff, but it's like who gives a shit?
Hilarious.
Yeah, that was like one of the only good things about it. But the big problem with that one was like they were showing off shit like Titanfall and stuff, and it was just like I don't care about any of this. And then in the middle of all this corporate bullshit where they're like showing off all these big budget games and that just look generic as fuck, this British guy comes out and he's kind of skinny and awkward and he's hunched over in his seat, and he just starts talking about this game, and they show it, and it's this crazy sci-fi, looks not like anything else, awesome thing, and that just everyone that got like social media was going crazy. I remember that. That was cool. But anyway, I wish that was announced during this Video Game Awards, and then he could be like, and it's coming out in 6 months, and everyone's like, yay! In the middle of all this bullshit, here's this cool game. But instead, it's probably going to be more like in the middle of all these other great games that have been announced, will be this other great game. If it had come out in the middle of that slump, it would have been awesome. But anyway, Pipe Dreams. Quantic Dream has announced their new game.
Is that the studio that made all those and the Beyond Two Souls?
Beyond Two Souls, yeah.
Is it David Cage or is it just Quantic Dream?
I think it's David Cage. I'm pretty sure it's David Cage. It looks. The concept is sound. It is androids in Detroit that are like manufactured in Detroit, and one of them becomes like sentient, I guess, and kind of wants to start an android revolution or whatever. It's well trod territory, but I like that stuff. That's good sci-fi, stuff. It looks like it's going to be heavy-handed as hell, and it looks like it might not make a whole lot of sense. Just from the trailers, you're like, wait a minute, if we were going to make a slave robot race, why would we make them look exactly like humans? What possible purpose would there be for that? But you can always do that with any sci-fi shit. But I don't know. I never played Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls. I saw a lot of them, and that the kind of the vibe that I get from those is like heavy-handed, over dramatized maybe, but interesting. Like just the whole concept of like creating this playable movie or miniseries kind of thing. That I like that's being done. I just don't know if it's necessarily being done very well, but at least they're trying. So I don't know. I can't pass judgment on this.
The screenshots
just from
that I'm
a trailer.
looking at look kind of cool.
The game looks technically amazing. Looks really, really good. So I don't know. Whatever. It's a Quantic Dream game.
And it seems like appropriate subject matter for a game that's styled that way, gameplay wise.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I don't know how much freedom of choice there'll be and stuff. It'll be interesting to see where they go with that. Because
I don't really need freedom of choice. I just want a
not
good
in that
story.
kind of thing. I agree.
Yeah.
Like The Witcher 3. You know how much I love The Witcher 3. It has a lot of freedom of choice. That takes a lot of effort. You have to create all these branching paths, and if you don't put all that effort in there, then it doesn't pay off, and there's no point in doing it in the first place.
Right.
And I feel like with the kind of budget that they must have for this game, and the amount of money that it costs just to make it, I don't know if you can afford to have all that many branching paths and stuff. So it's just like, just let me experience the story, but make it interactive enough to stay engaging. But that's a hard line to kind of follow, because a lot of people are going to complain, well, it's interactive, but I can't actually control anything that actually happens in the story. And I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of improvement to be made in that genre, whatever you would call it. But that's a hard one to tackle.
To step back a second, No Man's Sky, was that confirmed PC yet? Do we know?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it was confirmed PC. PlayStation is. It's not Xbox, I think, but PlayStation's put all their weight. It might be PlayStation first. I don't know, but I'm almost positive it's coming out for PC.
Okay, there's a page for it on Steam, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's going to be interesting. They also showed like what looks like basically a Minecraft clone. It looked like a really, really good Minecraft, like as in like graphically and maybe playing a little better too.
I would play something like that.
Yeah, I liked Minecraft, but it was I don't know, it grew pretty stale, and it's just that game looks like garbage, and it always has. And I've always thought, like, why not just do this in a better engine?
And some people, they get really into like some people love the aesthetic of Minecraft,
and I understand that. I can appreciate it.
It's cute.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's not bad or
but
anything.
Like, do that kind of game.
Some people get really into it for that stuff, and I just don't.
Do that kind of game and add like a nice lighting system where that if I build like a nice little home, make it feel cool because I'm lighting it in a cool way and stuff. And Minecraft is just a thing, and I don't know, whatever. It looked like there was more to it than just Minecraft. Like there's portals and stuff, and there's like what looked like might have been AI in it, like creatures walking around.
Is it more Rust-like, or is it still
No,
cube?
it's voxel cubes. Okay. It's cubes, but it might be slightly smaller cubes, and the graphics look a lot better.
Okay.
And it looks like there's it looks like there's an actual setting. Like it doesn't look like it's just here's a world and you build stuff in it. It looks like there might be some kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of projecting here, but it might be like a story-based kind of thing where there's definitely what looks like AI or large-scale multiplayer and portals and different worlds that you're traveling between and stuff, so who knows. But another game they showed is called Wild. I don't even know how to start here. I'll just tell you what they showed.
Okay.
They had some narration going on, I think. They said, like, okay, you're playing as the shaman class, and here you have a quest where this woman has been bitten by a snake, and you need to get an anti-venom. So we're gonna go over here to this eagle, and the shaman like points at an eagle or whatever, and the camera goes to the eagle, and now they're flying around as the eagle. And then they say the eagle can spot out creatures on the ground really easily, and it goes into like I guess eagle vision, and spots some snakes, and it swoops down and grabs the snake and brings it back to the shaman, and then you take control of the shaman again, and it's like, all right, now we need to get it over there to that shrine or whatever, and they can see like a mile in the distance there's some kind of big building, and the shaman calls a bear to him and then rides the bear to the ruins, and then there's a group of cannibals partying around a fire doing music and stuff, and I guess they're bad cannibal people, so you call down a flock of crows to distract them while you run in with your bear and kill them all, and then you go to the ruins and summon a giant snake lady who asks you what you want, and then the demo ended. I don't know what that game is. It's interesting. It looks interesting. I have no idea what it is. So I don't know how much...
I'm looking at some footage of it. I don't know what to make of it either.
It's unique. I don't know. It looks like it's just going to be like an open world, I guess, almost like RPG style game where you have a ton of freedom. I guess Grand Theft Auto in Fantasyland.
Prehistory.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll move on.
Before you move on, one step back again. What was the name of that Minecraft-like game?
I can't remember. I didn't even write it down. I just thought of it when I mentioned something else.
All right.
Matterfall showed a CGI teaser that told you nothing about that game, so I will skip it.
Okay.
And they showed some... Oh, they also showed some more...
Horizon?
I put more in quotes. They showed more Horizon Zero Dawn. It's literally the same thing. Like, if you remember from the E3 demo, she hunts some animals with tanks on their backs, and then they run away, and then a big T-Rex robot comes, and she fights the robot by tearing off a piece of it and linking it to the ground and taking it down. Literally the same thing, just in a slightly different context. There was a funny moment where the game pauses, and the guy narrating it goes, "Has it crashed?" And then they go, "Oh, no, we're just in the debug mode." And he starts moving the camera around, and I was like, all right, whatever.
I found the name of the game. It's called
Okay.
Boundless.
Boundless, yes. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it looks like it could be fun. It looked like something that might be PS only, though, so... I might get a PS4. If I had to choose a console, I would probably choose the PS4, and I might shell out some bucks.
The people I know who've been waiting, they've started to buy.
I mean, Dark Souls 3 is going to come out, so...
Yeah, but that's on PC.
Yeah. Still.
Okay.
You gotta play it on the true console it's meant for.
Yeah, the console experience. I don't want it to be too smooth.
I don't want it to be 60 frames
It
per second.
hurts my eyes. It gives me motion sickness.
So yeah, they showed a small... They showed two things with VR. They showed a montage of VR games, I think, and they showed off one in particular.
And I did see your video.
Yeah, I made a video about the montage.
That was great.
You should watch my video.
That was funny.
It's inspired by the Oculus Rift video that I could never live up to. Have you seen the Oculus Rift one?
No.
It was made like a year and a half ago or something.
Are you telling me it's less original than I? Because
yes,
okay.
because but
it was
it's
still
also
good.
everything about it is surpassed by the Oculus Rift video. I mean, the Oculus Rift video is different. It is just someone with like really high production equipment created an ad for Oculus Rift that is obviously not an actual ad for Oculus Rift, and I will link it because it is amazing. It is extremely not safe for work. I would say that. But yeah, it is incredible. It is much better than my video. I'll give it credit. It's also different, but I just had to make my video because I thought those faces
faces were so
stupid.
They're perfect. Like
Yeah, yeah. I had to. When I thought of the idea, I was like, well, I can't not make this video, and it took like an hour to make. So, um, anyway,
The black guy especially. Like that
yeah,
was
the thing that those faces came from is a game called Rigs, which is an esport. There's this trend.
it's an esport. God
Yeah.
damn it.
There's this trend of producers pushing their esports games before that they actually hit the market and become esports games. You know, like League of Legends and Dota were made to be competitive games, and then they became esports when people got into them enough where
Yes.
it could be competitive enough to justify it being an esport. It had that fan base and became an esport on its own rights. And then you get companies like Blizzard and
Capcom with the umbrella.
yeah. Oh my God, Umbrella Corps.
Yep.
Did we talk about that?
Yes, we did. I think.
Oh my God.
Well,
you need to.
we watched it immediately after.
Yeah. You need
And-
to watch the Umbrella
Yeah.
Corps video.
Now that
You-
we both watched the trailer, that is so funny, and you
It
gotta
is.
watch it right now.
Awful. It is one of the cringiest things. There's another cringy
Mike,
video that everyone
the
needs to
killer. What was his name? He had some stupid nickname.
see. I don't remember, but before I forget, there's another stupid video that people need to look up. The trailer for oh fuck, I can't remember the name of it, but that video game where you die when you die once, that's it. You can't play the game anymore. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Well, so this is, I guess, news. It was news last week, I think. But yeah, there's a game coming out where you buy it for like $10 and you play it, and if you die, it's like a DayZ style game, and if you die, you can't play it anymore. It's just over.
Wow.
And actually, I think that's kind of an interesting concept. It doesn't look like a good game, but they made a trailer for it that looks like it was straight out of like an episode of Law and Order or something. You know, where like they try to be super edgy with it, and it's like you only get one life, and there's like blood rushing down the screen and stuff. It's a really bad trailer, and you should look that up. I'll show it to you after the thing. Anyway, moving on.
I think it's called Upsilon Circuit.
No, I don't think so.
Then this is another one that does the same thing.
I'm sure it's not an original idea. In fact, Kojima wanted to do that.
That's frustrating. I don't.
I'll figure it out and I'll link it.
Not the name, but I mean that just sounds more frustrating. Than
Yeah,
would
like if
be
you die in
actually
like some
interesting.
bullshit way or something, it's just like, well, I guess I can't play this game anymore. If you end up liking
Yeah,
it,
or
that sucks.
and there's almost definitely a way to play it again. You'll just have to
Yeah.
change a file or something.
yeah, or buy it again. So-
yeah, that would Kojima or not Kojima.
Yeah.
Konami would do that.
So anyway, along with all these other companies that have tried and failed to push their esports games, now we've got Rigs or Rig. I don't remember which. It is you pilot a mech, and it's team based, and you're in an arena, and it looks like they never explain the objective. They just have the gameplay going with like over enthusiastic commentary that isn't as cringy as the Umbrella Corps stuff because it seems more legit. Like it's just better produced than the Umbrella Corps stuff. But I guess the objective is to just throw yourself through a hoop in the middle of the arena without dying. I think nothing about it looked appealing. Like it was the worst possible way to show your esport, and also just like stop billing your game as an esports game. Just come out with a game, and if it's good enough, it'll become an esport. Congratulations,
That's the
you did
thing.
it.
When you're like on paper, if you don't know your audience, it might seem like it makes sense. Like esports are popular.
Yeah, they're a
we
thing
wanna,
now,
We want
see?
to tap into that market. But what are the people in the esports market like? They're usually they are super into one game
Yeah.
because they love it, and they're usually savvy enough to understand if something has actual competitive potential. I'm not saying that esports fans are smart people, because they're not, but you're not gonna like fool them by pretending your game is an esport, and by making it look like an esport, you're gonna alienate the people who, oh, I might just try that. Like it seems to be a
I think you do
bad
alienate a lot of
marketing
people.
strategy, not just annoying.
Like that's the thing about like to me the right way to do it is what Rocket League did. Rocket League hasn't like come come out as a huge esport or anything.
Really
it does have, I think it does have some esport stuff going on, but not big. It hasn't been out for long enough.
It's just
anyway.
a really well realized competitive
but
game.
yeah, they made a competitive game that could be an esport, and they patched in really good spectator stuff, and they didn't say like this is an esport now, and they didn't come out with all these trailers where there was commentary teams going over like all the stuff. They just came out with a game and they said, if this was an esport, we have the spectator mode for it and everything.
Ooh, that sure is a big car.
What a goal!
Can you imagine those people from the Umbrella Corps video trying to shout goal like a Mexican football announcer?
Everyone needs to watch the Umbrella Corps video. But yeah, so Rocket League will probably get a minor esports following, and maybe it'll make some money off of it and stuff. But like, all I know is I'm still playing the game because it's a lot of fun, and I don't care whether it's an esport or not. I'm glad that it's a well-made competitive game, and I think that if it was created from the beginning and marketed as an esport, I would be a little turned away from it because I just like you said, you see right through the bullshit, and you say like, well, you're just you're pushing this and it doesn't actually exist, and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But anyway, this is actually like one of the first things they showed, I think, but they showed some Tekken and Street Fighter 5 or whatever, and apparently Tekken's going to be in VR. If you want, I have no idea.
Why would you need a VR for a 2D fighter?
I want to know how that is. I guess you just get the same view, but you can look. I don't know. That's stupid. It's really dumb. I just thought that was worth mentioning because it was so dumb. So that is the PlayStation Paris conference. It's actually pretty entertaining to watch. There's some really goofy shit that goes on in there. I can't remember the name of the developer, but there's this one developer who comes out at like all the E3s and stuff, and he's this short Japanese dude who needs a translator, and he's like super excited about everything. And he came out with like a little hat on that had like the little bird swirling over your head as you're knocked out, It was.
Were they like on a rotating thing, like
they were on
propeller
springs?
Hat?
They were on springs, and so they moved around. It was.
Good.
I couldn't figure out what it was for like the first 2 minutes. I was like, "What the fuck is throwing on his head?" But anyway, the PlayStation conference, all video game related conferences are always entertaining, usually unintentionally. Although I will give PlayStation credit, their kind of semi awkward, goofy shit is pretty much on purpose. They've learned from Nintendo, I think, to kind of embrace the Japanese side of things and let them do their crazy shit. Yeah. And Nintendo has figured that shit out 100%. So anyway, that's it. That's what I have to say about that.
Okay. That's all she wrote.
Oh, wait. I will mention,
P.S.
Hattori said in chat, Gravity Rush 2 was shown, which is Gravity Rush with a new character and stuff. I never played Gravity Rush. Nobody played Gravity Rush. It's actually a cool little game. Like, it has a neat art style. It's like, I think it's a puzzle platformer kind of thing where you manipulate gravity. Like, you look at a building and you can press a button and the gravity switches to be like the wall of that building.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly.
Is it kind of like VVV?
No, I don't think so. It's
but 3D.
I don't think so. No.
It looks cool.
Maybe. I never played VVV. And
it's
Nier
where you
2.
flip ceiling to floor.
Yeah. Nier 2. I don't know anything about Nier 2. So.
That's a Platinum game. That's coming to PS4. It sounds cool.
Is that the one with the dragons?
No. Wait. Maybe.
I thought that isn't that Platinum who's making the one with the?
I think it looks like an anime game. It doesn't look like it.
Oh yeah.
I'm not seeing dragons here.
No, I was thinking something different. I don't know.
Maybe
whatever.
That kind of looks like a dragon. Whatever.
It's definitely not what I was thinking of.
Okay.
Axel in chat said he played Gravity Rush. I don't know if I was thinking of Lair.
This game that came out on PS3.
No, it hasn't come out yet. The one I'm thinking of hasn't come out.
Okay. Anyway. So what's South by Southwest drama?
Oh my god. Did you hear about any of this?
Nope. It sounds like that's a good thing.
Yeah, it kind of is. And so I'll be brief about it. So apparently Randy Harper and her
Hey,
we're gonna
this kind of
have
story. Okay.
we're gonna have a panel at South by Southwest, in which they discuss harassment online, and at the same time, or not maybe not at the exact same time, but at the same event, there was going to be a bunch of Gamergate folks making a panel about video games. I don't know what you would say at a Gamergate panel, but both of those panels, as of last I heard, have been canceled
Praise Jesus.
because of South by Southwest didn't say which sides were more egregious with this, but I imagine it was quite mutual. Apparently, there was a lot of threats and harassment being thrown between these two panels and their followers, and so they decided that they needed to cancel it.
Good outcome.
So the chaos-loving pessimist side of me agrees with you that it's a good outcome, but I also think that it's really shitty to shut down any kind of panel just over harassment. That's like a bad precedent,
yeah,
you know.
Okay, that is true.
But you know, it's
there are two
totally,
panels that didn't need to happen, but having them shut down in this way is a bad thing.
Yeah,
okay,
they didn't
I can
need
see
to
that.
happen, but they shouldn't be stopped from happening. Anyway, there's a bunch of drama there, and of course everyone says that Gamergate shut them down by harassing Randy Harper and her type out, and we all know that if anything, it was probably the other side that was worse about. Gamergate panels have been shut down multiple times in the past, forcibly shut down, like through bomb threats and stuff. So say what you will about Gamergate, but I don't think that they're as bad as whatever you call them. I guess anti-Gamergate is the big term. Social justice warriors in an organized form and a professional form through Patreon and whatnot.
Yeah.
Anyway, we love those people at Push Shout, so we like to give them the time of day. Bob Ross has been streaming on Twitch.
I heard about that.
It's really weird. I guess Twitch has expanded their what they allow to be streamed to creative stuff like painters and
that happened a while ago.
animators and stuff. And in celebration of that fact, someone came up with the fantastic idea to get the Bob Ross license, or just discuss with the Bob Ross. I don't know. There's some kind of company that is named Bob Ross, like Incorporated or something like that, and they're streaming all 400 and like, I don't know, 5 episodes or something like that of
Cool.
Bob Ross and the joy of painting, and they're just doing it back to back, and it's going to take, I don't know if it's done yet, it was going to take 8.5 days to complete. That's 24/7 Bob Ross. So that's a lot of Bob Ross. I like Bob Ross a lot. Those things, you will become transfixed watching him paint those things. Like, it's just, there's something, everyone knows there's something about it. If you watch an episode, you just sit there like drooling, just like, what the hell is going on?
So he's the little, when he adds detail to mountains.
He adds a happy little bush right there and a happy little tree, and I don't know. Everyone's
Shit. Twitch chat.
yes. So that's what I was going to mention next. Is that everyone has been enjoying the polar opposite of Bob Ross directly next to the Twitch chat, responding to what he's doing, and you know, Twitch chat is truly a cancer of the internet.
It's among the worst.
It is
things
awful.
You can find online.
I hate it, and I hate everything about it. But I will say that it's pretty funny the first time this happens. Not every time it happens, it happens every time. But like, he'll draw his beautiful landscape with the mountains and the river and a hill, and then he'll be like, and I think there just needs to be a tree right here. And he just starts drawing this huge black line down the middle of the painting, and everyone in the chat freaks out and says it's ruined. And I think that that's kind of funny. But then they do it every time that he adds anything to the painting. It's Twitch chat. It's Twitch chat.
Yes, it is. God
All right.
damn it. And now
That's
I'm
all
just
the
thinking
news I
about
have.
Twitch chat.
In general,
Yeah.
they added a Bob Ross emoticon
Of course. I bet there's just constant emoticon spam too. It's probably one of the
Yep.
most popular things on the site now. So it's just
It is
a
probably
deluge of
when I tuned
memes.
in, it was like 60 something thousand people watching or something like that, which is pretty huge. I think Twitch Plays Pokemon was like 120 something thousand at some of its peak times, so it's not quite at that level. I tuned in today. I tuned into the Twitch Plays Dark Souls 2 channel, which is still happening.
How can you
Uh,
care?
That's the sad part, is that there's like 40 something viewers, I think, and there's some terrible music playing, just like through a bot that plays the music, and there's just a few people in the chat typing in commands that happen every like 5 minutes or whatever. It's the most depressing thing I've ever seen in my life. They've made it pretty far. They made it to like, I think they're in the area where you're going. It's like the really fucking hard area where you're like all the people are shooting spells at you, and you have to like get across like the cavern of. There's like you have to find the path underwater or whatever. But you know, who cares, because
Exactly.
they've gamed it to a point where of course you can get through it because you're only playing like one frame at a time. That's really stupid. It's like when they added democracy mode to Twitch Plays Pokemon and ruined it.
No. Because, well, I mean, Twitch Plays Pokemon sucked pretty quickly
I thought it was great.
because of the
I
memes.
thought it was great.
But
Yeah, they memed it, but it's still.
But
it was
yeah,
still
it was
great.
cool even after they added that, because you could vote for anarchy, and you could always
yeah.
try. You know, it added something to it.
But it's
I felt.
soured. The first time that democracy won and they got through with democracy soured it, because it's like, well, now it's
Yeah,
less of
but-
an accomplishment.
No, it's more of an accomplishment.
Well, how
well,
so?
sorry. It is less of an accomplishment to finish the game. What I meant was, it's more of an accomplishment for you as a Hellraiser when you finally get to fuck things up.
Yeah, it was a wonderful thing. Twitch Plays Pokemon. I stand by that. That is one of the most interesting like internet events that I've ever seen happen. Just like the the war that happened between people who were anarchists in the terms of in the lingo of Twitch Plays Pokemon versus those who wanted the democracy, and just the different mindsets of those people. That's really entertaining. That's a fascinating thing to think about. But anyway, we're done here, I think.
Yes.
Sorry,
Folks.
the podcast was so late.
Folks, thank you for tuning in. This has been Push to Shout, episode 52. Subscribe to the channel. Oh, by the way, we broke 100 subscribers on the Push to Shout YouTube channel.
Yay!
So now we have to have a giveaway and thank everybody and make an update video.
An unboxing video of our merch.
Loot Crate, come at us. Who else can you get? Stamps.com, Kickapoo,
DraftKings.
FanDuel.
FanDuel.
Did you know you can win $1 billion on FanDuel after playing for 5 minutes? Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.
Thanks, FanDuel.
Thanks, Jim Sterling.